Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio, and a fine Lawn Maintenance Tuesday to you and yours. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you're going to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything, but hey, if you do, remember all 3 hours get posted every day upon the conclusion of the program, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. So you'll be all set. You can go back and get caught up that way. You can also email the show if you like. It's jcs at 979espnradio.com. Find me on Twitter at jcameron show, WTSM app for your mobile devices. And on YouTube, it's ESPN Tallahassee. So it's game day, baby. Choo-choo! Florida State basketball begins now.
Threw down with the choo-choo.
Well, it's the start of the season, man. They won 26 games a year ago, best season in 46 years. Get a chance to go back over to the renovated TLC Double C and watch a basketball team that won't be nearly as good as the one that I just referenced from a year ago, but one that is potentially a fun team to invest in. It is just in general because Ham's done a good job, and Ham's got kids that are always lovable, even when they don't play all that well. And I think it's also an important year for Ham. As a guy who has supported him, I can't ignore that there was a drought that made it very difficult to continue to support him. They bounced back in a big way and certainly have changed the style in which they play. And I always balance my criticism of the basketball program with the lack of investment in the basketball program and the conference that we play in, which invests fully in a way that some of the teams in this conference don't in football, for example. So I get that. I get that, you know, what we should be looking at, what's reasonable to look at for Florida State year in and year out is to try to be a perennial, maybe 3 out of every 5 years or 4 out of 6, a tournament-type team, a tournament team, and one that finishes in the middle to just slightly above the middle of the conference, the pack of the ACC. Until we continue to invest more, then that will be what I think is reasonable. And they took a huge step forward a year ago. But they are also, unfortunately, in a kind of a predicament here. The conference is still a juggernaut, and they lost some big-time scorers. And I think as you enter tonight's game, you're going to be wondering to yourself, where's the offense going to come from? Where is the consistent offense going to come from? And I think you're going to have nights where it's there and nights where it's not, and that's what's going to be maddening.
I think it's going to come from transition. That's, off of misses. You got to get stops, and then you get out and you move quickly. Yeah. And I think that's the cool thing about this year is to see. Remember, it was like line changes last year for the way that the freshmen came in and defended.
Almost too much, but a lot of guys got to play.
And there were times when, absolutely, sometimes it was too much.
Too many people playing. Yeah.
But, hey, when you win every home game in 26
not
overall,
gonna bitch.
Walker and Forrest did hit a bit of a rut there towards the end of the season, but the energy and the intensity they brought was always at max level. So here's a chance for them to play, mid-20s towards 30 minutes a night. We'll see if they can certainly handle that. But Brian Angola, formerly Brian Angola Rodas, is going to be the guy.
Brian Angola has to be the guy.
Offensively,
if you're talking about scoring.
Yeah,
he has to be the guy.
He has a great idea for spacing. He has a great idea for timing.
He's also not afraid. Yeah, I like that he's not afraid, and he's got some what for to him. We got time. We'll get to basketball momentarily. Let's talk football for a second. It's a fun time. Okay, so I get it. It's tough, and you'll hear headlines today. At the end of this hour, we'll begin headlines. But over the course of that time, it may become dated, frankly, with all of the talk and the chatter that's going on right now around college football, which is exciting. If you're a college football fan, and we all are, we have our individual allegiances. We all do. But at the same time, we love the sport as a whole, and we love it partly because it's just a freaking dude soap opera, man. It's, we're all aware of the principal characters and how they've affected our lives in various ways, good and bad. And sometimes, marriages break up, and you find out that the Wilson's kid's not doing so well these days. He's a real trouble in school. And then there's hey, don't look now, but you remember Frank? Yeah, his brother's doing really well at UCF. Oh, really? I'll have to keep an eye on him. He's a real comer in the business. He's on his way up. Yeah, so that's how we are with these characters, and the plot thickens. The plot's thickening for Florida State. Whether it's Dan Walken or anybody else reporting that Texas A&M is seriously looking at Jimbo Fisher as a candidate for their next head coach, or that Tennessee has now entered the mix. That's the word there out of Knoxville that perhaps Tennessee is interested in Jimbo Fisher. And these are the kinds of rumors you're going to hear now, because those are two jobs that are going to be open, and it would make some sense to have a guy who is one of the 4 active coaches to have won a national championship that currently runs a program, a big-time program. And, the way you sell that, I suppose, to those two fan bases or any other fan base that might be interested is, hey, listen, the guys won a national title. They won conference titles. They're winning 10 games a year. This year's a dip, true. But he lost his starting quarterback the first game of the year. Then the hurricane hit. There have been a myriad of factors as to why this team has struggled this year. I think you got to look at the resume as a whole. He's been a good recruiter. He's developed players and gotten them drafted. He's a guy that wins 10 games, wins conference championships, and won a national championship. That's what we're selling right here. We haven't had that here. Let's bring in that guy who can build a program, who turned it around at Florida State after a legend had let it kind of fall into disrepair. That's how you sell it. And then there are a lot of people around here going, yeah, that's right. He did all of those things. Why don't you take a look? Why don't you kick the tires? Maybe you'll offer up $7-8 million to see how that thing drives. Sure. And there are still others around here who go, whoa. Now, listen, I'm just as disappointed as anybody else in Jimbo Fisher right now, and this is certainly a pathetic campaign that we're involved in right now. Injuries or not, 3-6 is awful, and certainly we seem rudderless, and it looks like there's a culture problem. All that may be true, but this guy did win us a national title and has recruited well and has put us back in the conversation. I'm going to make allowances for the kind of disastrous campaign we're on and let him fix it. So let's not let anything happen to a guy we know can win. Let's keep him around, and let's see what happens with the coaching changes this offseason. And better still, people are saying, I think there's a reasonable viewpoint here that suggests maybe Jimbo's mind is elsewhere currently. If you look at some of these game plans, you look at the lack of development of James Blackman right now, you hear the way that he's kind of taken shots at facilities and talked about things that might upset the administration a little bit, and some that have donated large sums of money to his time here with the practice facility, etc. Maybe he's already on his way out the door, and might we not be in control of this decision, and maybe we need to start getting our ducks in a row because things are changing whether we like it or not. Florida is going to be bringing in their next head coach. Could be as early as this afternoon. Could be that Chip Kelly makes his way to Gainesville, or so the rumor says, and it could very well be that Florida State's got to start to think about how do you combat that, or if it's Scott Frost or anybody else that's a big name right now. And who, by the way, would we be interested in? Who are some of the names that you would throw out there? Well, Gary Patterson's a name I've heard for years that might be interested in coming to Tallahassee. Willie Taggart's a guy that's from the state of Florida, has done a good job everywhere he's ever been, has ties, is young, is a guy that resonates with recruits. He might be a guy we'd be interested in, although is it too soon? He's only been at Oregon for a year. Maybe he doesn't leave, even though born in Florida and raised in Florida. I'm sure he's itching to get back to Florida first chance he gets. But if the Gators pass on him with the Noles, okay, if Dan Mullen's not going to go to the University of Florida, would Dan Mullen come to Florida State? Would we be interested in Dan Mullen? There are all kinds of ways to view what is an interesting time in college football for fan bases, especially littered throughout the Southeast.
Where to begin? That's a lot to chew on right there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, right?
That's a buffet. You got a meat carving station over here.
You got the fruit.
You got
and
a salad bar.
You got salad. We got dessert over here.
Look at these soups.
Yeah, delicious. I love corn chowder. Here's the thing. I'm not saying any or all of these things are true. I don't know. Either does anybody else. You get snippets here and there. You call in your sources. You get the rumor mill. You hit it up. You talk about it because we're all doing so right now at the water cooler. This is quintessential college football chatter, baby.
Yeah, but I believe that there's one conversation that's principal to our offseason and the way it goes that the administration boosters need to have, and I think they've already had it. I'll bet they've already had it. If it comes to... And I don't know that this is going to happen, but if it comes to, let's say, A&M and Tennessee want to get involved in a Jimbo Fisher bidding war, at what point do we say...
By all means.
Well, at what number do we say, no mas for us? We're out. If you guys want to negotiate a deal with him...
No. We're not doing this again. I'll tell you that right now. No. That's been leveraged twice back-to-back years. The answer is $0. None. If they want to take him and they offer up the money and he's trying to or his agent, which it's his job as an agent to do, and Florida State has ponied up the money because of it, that's fine. You don't let it happen a third time.
Well,
no.
It should be noted, too, that given the buyout here and given the job security he has here through 2065, it feels like.
Yes.
That the leverage for his agent to go to an A&M or a Tennessee and say, beat that buyout. Because right now his job security is such that he's good until the middle of the next decade. Mm-hmm. So what can you do for Jimbo that would actually sweeten the pot here? But again, that conversation has to be had if it hasn't been, had already, which is if this thing gets to a point where even if it's one university, even if it's only A&M or Tennessee, and they want to raise the number and call back over to these offices and say, well, you got to get to 7.5. What's the cutoff line? Are you saying that that's your cutoff line, or are you saying that that's the administration's cutoff line at $0?
I don't think the administration is going to go into this again with the same mindset and be played in that way again. I don't think so. I mean, they've done it 2 years in a row. Why would you do it again after a 3-6 year, a year where nothing has gone right and there's ample evidence that there's a toxic culture?
Okay, then if that's the case, then it comes down to Jimbo weighing whether or not off-the-field reasons, family reasons, or the reason that he's going to stay. Well, that's a huge one, though.
That's the biggest one.
Is that going to be enough to make, plus the program, all that stuff? But, it's a corporate culture. It's not like, Florida State, I can't leave Florida State.
They don't feel about it the way we feel about it.
No. So it comes down to that then. It comes down to, does Jimbo actually want to take a couple extra dollars to go to a place where, I don't know, maybe they'll build him new facilities.
Or they already have better facilities. There are places with better facilities. There always are.
A&M has spent a bleep ton of money in the last 5 years.
A whole lot of nothing. They got the best. Arkansas, by the way, if you want to look around at facilities, Arkansas may have the best facilities combined of any program in the country. They don't win a thing.
Diddly. Yeah, that's what you were going to say.
Ever. So, listen, I'm not trying to appear as if I'm the guy that's saying good riddance. What I am saying is I'm not doing this game again. We're not doing this every year. And that's fine. It's not his fault. I mean, he's done a good enough job where people would be interested. That's good. Good. You want your assistants to be in that position. None of ours are currently in that position. You want schools calling and asking about elevating and offering job status that guys on your roster don't have currently because they think they've done such a good job and that they're real go-getters. Ain't nobody calling for anybody on our staff, I promise you. So okay. It's okay to have a guy like that. I get it. But, I'm not doing this every year, especially not this year.
The only thing I'd say about A&M, and this is, again, hypothetical season, so we get to have fun, right? Sports Talk Radio. There's no journalistic mandate here.
No. Well, there isn't a journalistic mandate anywhere.
Yes, but actually, some may pretend.
Right.
But A&M and Jimbo makes a lot of sense with Brewster being a part of the package deal, because of Brewster's ties that he has and the work that he's done for this staff in the state of Texas in recent seasons. Well, that can only be all the more attractive to A&M fans, that you have somebody who already has a little bit of recruiting ties, as that's one of his areas that he has carved out from the state of Florida. Imagine what he could do from the state of Texas.
Jimbo Fisher has to decide a bunch of things, some of which we are not privy to, nor is it our place. And that would be the family stuff you're talking about. And that's really what everybody has to deal with when they're making decisions. It's the family and friends and the people you love and the relationships you have that you have to weigh. And juxtapose that to career success, financial success, whatever that might be, and how those two are interwoven, and happiness. Now, remove us from that conversation because we're not part of it, nor should we be. From a job standpoint, Florida State's a top 5 job, period. You could argue top 3. It is one of the best jobs in the country. There is no question. From a facilities to a cachet, success, history, you name it, it is one of the better jobs in all the country. So you're already at one of the great jobs where you can win and win big, and you can recruit, and you've got the support you need. Long-term, he was going to have the support just as he's had it each year he's been here that he needs. He has to decide whether he can fix what's going on right here, right now, and is it worth it, or has his message grown stale? Is he in such a predicament where he doesn't think just changing out the staff is going to be enough to reverse the culture. Urban Meyer made a decision at the University of Florida, also an elite job. His decision was to fake a heart attack and to try to get the hell out of Dodge because it was beyond repair. And Florida then had to bring in a guy whom they told, clean it up. And he did. And he lost a lot of games. And they said, thanks for cleaning it up. Get the hell up out of here. And they went on to the next guy. But they made that decision, and he made that decision. It wasn't going to work. I don't know. Jimbo has to decide. He's got to decide, do I look inward? Do I figure out what I need to fix about myself? Do I bring in other people that can help me make the decisions necessary? Do I already have in my head how I'm going to go about the process? And, God, this year can't get over soon enough because I will never allow for this to happen again. There was a misstep. I won't make that mistake twice, and we're moving on, and we're going to get back to kicking ass. I don't know where his head's at. I can't know that, and he is certainly not forthcoming right now. If you've noticed the last several weeks, Jimbo is more and more closed off. I don't necessarily blame him. There's not a lot he can say right now. Some of the things that maybe he'd like to say, he can't say publicly. In addition, he's not always in a position to be completely honest or forthcoming at the very least with his thoughts on players or the program or the situation they're in. He's just not. It would involve, rolling some people under the bus or players, and you're not going to do that. So you get a guy right now who's just throwing out cliches, and that's fine. But to be sure, behind the scenes, there is an awful lot going on here, an awful lot going on in college football. It's fun for those of us that cover it. Yes, emotionally, those of us invested in Florida State find it all very aggravating, but it is also part and parcel of being part of the big picture, right, of throwing your hat in the ring all those years ago. This is what comes with big-time college football, and we cover it the same way we always have, just like when we were at the end of the Bobby Bowden era and Jimbo Fisher was being bandied about as a guy that could come in and fix the situation.
Yeah, I think the fundamental question that Florida State fans are asking themselves right now, if they're not already, entrenched on one side or the other, which everybody loves to always be entrenched in 100% no matter what.
This is a nuanced situation.
The question is the bird in the hand of a guy who brought you from,
7-6 to a national champion.
The 80s to modernity, right, within 3 or 4 seasons, and you win a national title. Do you want the bird in the hand of that guy with a brand new staff, or do you want to try another guy with no guarantee that it might be the Will Muschamp hire here, and that we could go through 2 or 3 coaches, which means 6 to 8 years of wallowing.
Oh, see Miami.
Yeah.
Over and over and over
Which
and over and over again. Well, nobody believes you're going to whiff. That's the whole thing. And you can't look at it through the eyes of one who's afraid. You got to be prepared to make big boy decisions, pull the trigger and move forward, go forth proud, confidently, and see what happens.
Be fruitful and multiply wins.
That's right. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the makers of the toughest utility vehicles on earth, can give you the best year-end deal on earth. So let us show you how to get tax savings on your new Mahindra XTV and get cash back and savings up to $2,500 on select clearance models. Plus, get a free roof and Mahindra's 3-year warranty.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin, Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Type in franksautoworld.com on your smartphone, iPad, or desktop. Get multiple pictures and even a free Carfax of each vehicle and a rating by Car Gurus showing you the price is a good deal. franksautoworld.com.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, this is Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. No one besides us wants to hear that you need a new roof. It's one of the biggest home improvements you have to make, and Parker Brothers Roofing understands. We now offer financing for 0% over 60 months. Yes, that's 5 years. Call us today for 5 years interest-free financing on that new roof. 656-8112. That's 656-8112, or go to parkerbrothersroofing.net.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
The coast is here. Wharf Casual Seafood is a family-friendly restaurant serving high-quality fresh seafood at a great value since 1986. Wharf Casual Seafood's philosophy is that seafood can be affordable, fast, and top-notch quality all at the same time. No one brings families together like Wharf Casual Seafood. Visit their Tallahassee locations on Bannerman Crossing and the newly opened Mahan location at the Costco shopping area. Open 7 days a week. Visit wharfcasualseafood.com for more information or to order online. No need to drive when the coast is here.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
You know, the idea, and it's mentioned in the USA Today story, but you have a coaching carousel, and the conversations now start to heat up. Florida and Tennessee out of the SEC doing this. Texas A&M figures to do the same also out of the SEC, and now the idea that Florida State may be involved in this whole thing too. And we don't know that, but certainly it's starting to be introduced into the national conversation. You know, these whispers have taken place around here and throughout the state for half the year. I mean, I mentioned Texas A&M and the rumor of Texas A&M to you, Tom, and to a few others. I think what was that, 4 weeks ago?
At least a month ago, yeah.
Yeah. So, but you know, just thought, well, you hear things, but I don't know. It's not really something that we can pursue. It's just interesting. And then you raise an eyebrow, and then you start to hear a little bit more of it, and it grows louder and louder. That's typically how this works. But the thought of Florida State and Florida simultaneously looking for new coaches, you talk about the marketplace changing radically. My goodness gracious, that competition's fun.
Well, this is where you might want to have meetings as the university's brass, right, with boosters off campus. You know, so people can't check the parking lots, or there isn't a scheduled meeting that's a state record, right? You just kind of maybe want to pick up the phone, make a call, and say, hey, you want to meet up?
Here at Jim and Milt's as well?
Right, yeah.
Crazy
because
to see you.
You've got to be prepared for all scenarios. And that's the job of an athletic director, of a university president, of the boosters. I mean, you have to have contingency plans. It's not just about having names in the top drawer. Because if you have two different universities, power colleges that are in the Southeastern Conference, one's truly in the Southeast and one's in Texas, you have to be prepared, man. Are we hiring just a bunch of assistant coaches that this guy wants, or is this guy going to be gone and we're going to have a guy coming in here who wants to hire a completely different set of assistant coaches? That's a lot of phone calls to make. It's a lot of potential contracts to draw up. You know what I mean? Intention letters, whatever it is. Man, not a lot of sleep right now. This is why you get paid the big bucks to be in the administration.
This sounds so pompous, and I'll admit it right now, but I called my agent, who's a Gator, and we were talking on the phone, and I mean, I'm friends with him and his family. I've known him for years and years and years, long before he was ever my attorney. And I said, I threw out a name, and then he countered with another name, and we were just talking about coaches, and then he introduced a flight pattern that he thought was interesting, and I'm like, it's that time of year where people monitor flights. I forgot about that. Houses for sale, moving trucks, flights at weird hours. I forgot all about that. That's always the best, man.
Wasn't it Urban Meyer with the house deal? Something in Columbus. There was a house purchased or something.
Something happened where somebody said, "Hey, that's the Myers are buying that." Yeah, you never know. It flies fast, man. Somebody told me that so-and-so's house is for sale and that another one was purchased in Lubbock. Lubbock? What? Who's in Lubbock? Well, I don't know, but there's two assistants and the next thing you know, and yeah. I know College Station is where Texas A&M is. I just said Lubbock to say Lubbock.
You know, coaches are always paranoid, and that's part of their job.
Fans are too, buddy.
Fans are too, but like coaches are paid to be paranoid.
Oh,
in a sense.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, like maybe not signaling the same plays in a national title game when you have an assistant on the other sideline. That kind of paranoia would help. Good thing Kelvin Benjamin was paranoid about those things.
Right.
But this is when administrations need to be paranoid about everything. And I get it. There are some people who would want wholesale change and Jimbo to be gone too. And they say, well, they don't need to be paranoid. They need to be happy. That's good. No, man. You got to be prepared for all scenarios here.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, like I said just a couple of minutes ago, it's not just about the list in the drawer. It's about taking action, hypothetical actions. And I'm fascinated by what those calls, emails, texts, what they may read like, who the middle people might be, because I'm sure that they had to reach out to some degree with the LSU stuff to other names or agents or people like, well, if this domino were to fall, would you potentially be interested?
Yeah.
Right. How does that all work? That machine is eminently fascinating.
So Sexton is sitting in a room somewhere right now with like 57 people answering all of his cell phones, and there are 3 cell phones that he holds near and dear to his chest.
Yeah.
And only certain people have the numbers for, like the big players, and then all the other things are picked up from others that are like, hey, you may want to take this, boss.
I envision a massive map on his wall.
Yeah.
And it's got little holders, and the cell phone
and the wires like they do with the FBI.
Sure. Well, I was thinking like a map of the United States, and so each state has its own phone for different coaches, and so you just pick up that one that's ringing, and he's like, hang on a second, Bill Sexton.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm sorry, sir, hang on one second. Bill Sexton.
Yeah.
I mean, what a weird gig. And that makes it all the more interesting, too, just in general. Nothing to do with Jimbo Fisher and Florida State. We'll use them as an example, but, I mean, the relationship that an athletic department and or a booster community or administration has to have with Bill Sexton.
Jimmy Sexton.
Why do I keep saying Bill Sexton?
Well, I don't know.
Because he was coaching here? I could be. Jimmy freaking Sexton.
Yes.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy Sexton.
Jimmy Sexton's the agent. Yes.
The interesting thing about Jimmy Sexton.
Or Bill.
Or maybe he's got a brother, Bill, who's working the phones for him, is that you have to be much more cordial with him because you're going to be dealing with him for the next guy.
Mm-hmm.
So the negotiation process can't ever get personal.
Sexton's a UT graduate, by the way. Tennessee.
Okay.
So there's
Jimmy Sexton is a Tennessee graduate.
That's right. Bill, I don't know.
Jimmy.
For
the love of God, it's Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy is a Tennessee graduate. So I don't know what is Jimmy trying to engineer the whole thing so that the Vols are finally good again?
Was Bill calling the plays for Jimmy?
Oh man, I just think he's got an interesting life. He just does. There's a lot of stress and a lot of money made, and this is his time of year. It's just now. It's like, well, this guy. Well, what if we did this? Haven't you always wanted to live here, Coach? Didn't you tell me that? I bet you. And
oh man, the list. The notes he must have on every client must be crazy. This is Jimmy Sexton's time of year.
The TLC Double C will host Florida State tonight, and the winning streak to boot. I'll talk about it next. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the world's #1 selling tractor, can give you the #1 year-end deal. Let us show you how to get tax savings on the toughest tractors on earth and get up to $7,400 in discounts along with Mahindra's 7-year warranty. Plus, get an Emax 22 with mid-mower for just $134 a month.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock.
You can always count on the crisp, refreshing taste of Bud Light, just like you can always count on reliable Ralph. Ask him to move that couch he moved for you last summer. Ralph will do it. Need a ride from the dentist? Better call Ralph. And he won't even film you after the laughing gas and put you online and get millions of views. He's Reliable Ralph, for Pete's sake. Reliable Ralph is famous among friends. He deserves a Bud Light. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB St. Louis, Missouri.
Milwaukee's special promotions going on right now at Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Purchase an M18 Fuel 2-tool combo kit and receive your choice free. M18 Fuel 4.5 to 5-inch grinder, 7 1/4-inch circular saw, or M18 Fuel Sawzall. Also check out the Milwaukee accessory add-on promotions. Buy Milwaukee Sawzall blades and use e-rebates to get a 30-ounce stainless tumbler, pack-out toolbox, or M12 hacksaw kit. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, the largest Milwaukee selection in the area. 2 locations, 1110 Stuckey Ave and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon.
This Day in Sports, brought to you by Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary. Get your history lesson weekdays at 5:30 during the Jeff Cameron Show, right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. At this hour, the third edition of this season's college football playoff rankings will be released tonight, 9 Eastern on ESPN TV and the ESPN app. Following its impressive win over Notre Dame, many expect number 7 Miami to jump to number 2 tonight, and this Saturday will serve as another test when it comes to the Hurricanes, believes ESPN's Kirk Herbstreit.
They need to blow teams out like Virginia and next week, Friday night against Pitt. That's what they need to do. But this is where we learn how much have they improved. Are they still that team that barely gets by Florida State, they barely gets by Georgia Tech? Or are they the team that we've watched these last 2 weeks that's impressed everybody?
Kirk Herbstreit on the Herbstreit and Fitzsimmons podcast. For more, you can now check out SportsCenter on Snapchat. NBA Celtics point guard Kyrie Irving plans to return from a facial fracture tonight against the Nets. Boston is on a 12-game winning streak. UCLA freshman basketball players LiAngelo Ball, Cody Riley, and Jalen Hill, detained in China the past week on suspicion of shoplifting, are heading back to the United States today.
Time to upgrade your wardrobe with CT Shirts, the most exquisitely crafted British-styled crease-free shirts I've ever worn. One CT shirt normally costs $100. I got you 3 shirts for just $99. Go to ctshirts.com/ESPN. ctshirts.com/ESPN.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Florida State leads the all-time series against George Washington. By the way, George Washington 1-0, won their first game of the year. Tonight's game, 7 o'clock, TLC Double C, televised on Fox Sports Sun. That would be 4:02 for those of you with Comcast. Florida State leads the all-time series, as I say, 3-0. All 3 games were played away from Tallahassee. The Noles routed the Colonials way back in 1967, 94-69. Dave Cowens led the way, 32 points, 24 boards. Have yourself a night. He was good, all-time good. 11 years later, the two teams met in Washington, D.C. That was in 1979. Much closer contest. The Noles rallied in the second half to win 71-68. And last year, the two teams met in the BB&T Classic at the Verizon Center, now known as the Capital One Arena in D.C. on December the 4th. And even without Jonathan Isaac, remember he had the hip? Noles used relentless defensive pressure, forced the 18 turnovers, limited to GW, by the way, to 22% shooting. Sweet Jesus. That's an awful night. Cruised 67-48 over George Washington, tonight's opponent, who did finish the year with a winning record, 20-15, just 10-8 in the Atlantic 10. That was good for 6th place. They ended up in the sorry-ass CBI tournament. Okay, so what do we have? We have a choo-choo, we got ding-ding, we got the beep-beep.
The beep-beep.
Is CBI the beep-beep? Or is that?
That's got to be the beep-beep.
Yeah, that's the beep-beep.
Yeah.
It's the beep-beep.
Well, it's the Tiger Woods beep-beep.
Yeah, beep-beep. Beep-beep. They lost 3 starters from a year ago. Tyler Cavanaugh, who made the final roster of the Atlanta Hawks this year, so it's good that he's gone.
Yeah,
Get the hell
that's
up out
good.
of here.
Yeah.
If we're losing NBA people, you lose your NBA people.
I wonder who his agent is. Wyatt Sexton?
Oh, man. GW opened their season 84-75, beat visiting Howard last Friday in a matchup of D.C. schools. I walked right past George Washington when I was in D.C. They ended up with 5 double-figure scores, so they got a game under their belt. Leonard Hamilton, by the way, all-time 14-1 in season openers as the head coach here at Florida State. The only loss came against South Alabama, 76-71, back in 2012.
I covered that game. I remember that.
That was a toughie.
USA.
That's a toughie.
Yeah.
I remember that game, too. So we're riding a 21-game home winning streak. Started back in February 27th, 2016 against Notre Dame, followed by a regular season finale win against Syracuse and a win over Davidson in the first round of the NIT 10 days later, then was capped off by last year's perfect 18-0 season at the TLC Double C, and that included wins over Florida, Duke, Notre Dame, and Louisville. Have yourself a year.
Yeah. It was a really, really fun year. That atmosphere was excellent, too. Outside of the student section for the Grayson Allen stuff, which was
was a bit rough.
Yeah,
it's really
take it easy there.
It's a little intimate and personal when you're in a basketball arena and you drop down with the FU Grayson.
Yeah, and his family's a row in front of us.
I think they were about 2 rows, 1
Yeah.
row, whatever it was. Yeah, they handled it well. I think they know their brother, their son, their relative of any sort is a bit of a tool.
Who's back for his 7th season?
57th season, Tom. 57th
Yeah.
season. He's got a bit of a punch. Yeah, it's crazy that he's back leading the way. But, okay, nonetheless, we're not playing Duke tonight. We're playing George Washington. And here's what I'll say about that. I am very excited to kind of see what we are. We're going to be a team that plays with great tempo. We're fun to watch. You do lose. Obviously, when you lose XRM and Bacon and Isaac, most of your points are coming from those 3 guys just a year ago. To replace all of that offense is extremely difficult early in the year. I think as the year goes on, they'll be fine. But I do think that in some of these non-conference games against teams that you'd like to believe you match up, that you should beat, that you should almost assume wins over, I'm not going to do that early on when you're working in all these new guys. Sure, you got plenty of veterans that come back, but none of them had to be the man a year ago. None of those guys, whether it be Brian Angola, whether it be Walker, any of these guys, Forrest, I mean, these guys didn't have to be the guy to lead the way in scoring. And man, so they're all good players, but it'll be interesting to see on a nightly basis how that scoring is dispersed, how much of it is one guy getting hot, Savoy from 3, whatever it might be, or is it you get a bunch of guys scoring 8 to 12, which is, I think, ideal for this team. That's how they need to play.
Yeah, we'll see what MJ Walker is, too, as a freshman,
Sure.
and how much of a scoring presence he will be on a consistent basis. It's going to be tough. I think the interesting thing about this team is they have so much length. I mean, outside of, Walker, Forrest, who are going to be two of your primary guards when it comes to effort, pressuring the ball up the court, if that's something we elect to do, which they're good at. But outside of that, your wings are all big. You've got a lot more bigs in general. Guys who can alter shots. We talked about yesterday, Obiagu, and obviously you get Kumaje back, and Cobbingale's a big body, and there's a couple of young players who are around 6'6" to 6'8". So, you've got a lot of length on the perimeter, which I think lends itself to getting out in fast breaks. If you're altering shots, be it from the perimeter or down low, you should generate a fair amount of misses, and you like the athleticism of this group. But you're right. I don't know who you can count on to go for 16 to 20 points a night. If you really need somebody to be the guy on a given night, is this going to be a ham and egg type team that, on a different night it's a different guy and they all step up over the course of the year? I just feel like it's going to be a pretty decent product by the end of the season. I don't know if they're going to take too many lumps to get to that point and not be able to make the tournament. That's the hard part.
And when you play what you play in the ACC to start the year, and we're a ways away, but when that happens, you start with Murderers Row. It's insane, and that's awfully difficult. I mean, you have both Duke and the defending national champion right off the bat. You're like, well, okay.
Point blank, you need to be able to shoot the basketball. And that's the talking point in preseason, but you got to see it to believe it. If they can hit from the perimeter with consistency, they have the athleticism to generate good open looks, I would think.
I think they're gonna listen. I have a sense that that they're gonna shoot the ball well. I need to know that they can get back and get enough stops to help in transition and lead the break. They want to get out and run, but I do think they're gonna shoot the ball well. I think that's one thing that we can count on. I don't know how well we're gonna be able to defend the paint. I know we got size. Some of it is size that's pushed around, and some of it's new.
Yeah, the hardest part is, where you're going to get your boards from. I think Cobbingale is going to be a big player for that. It's Fiondu. But I think Terrence Mann obviously has to play bigger than he did last year. And there was a stretch earlier in conference play. You're like, holy cow, what a revelation here. But he needs to be all the more consistent. The number one thing you lose last year is just how nasty Jonathan Isaac was for being rail thin as a freshman. He wanted to be around the 10. He
loved it. Block shots,
pulled up boards. I mean, he could have a rough
stuffer
night
all day long,
man,
buddy.
He could hit only 25-30% of his shots for the night, but he's close to a double or triple-double just because of how active he was around the glass. And he had a good sense for the game. So, to me, that's the hardest thing to replace. Second hardest thing will be XRM's vision, which was much better last season. Assist-to-turnover ratio was pretty damn good. It's going to have to be by committee, I would think, until somebody asserts themselves. But I think Angola offensively is at least the leading candidate right now.
A lot of fun to watch a team that can shoot, man. You can go through a lot of problems, but if you play with tempo and you shoot the ball well, you're like, it's enjoyable to watch. So at least got that going for us, I think.
Fair to say coin flip for the tournament this year?
Yeah, I think that's exactly where we are. And that's why each game, even if you're sitting there at 4 and whatever, you're not playing well and you don't think you're a very good team, let's hang in there with this group. Let's see. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the makers of the toughest utility vehicles on earth, can give you the best year-end deal on earth. So let us show you how to get tax savings on your new Mahindra XTV. And get cash back and savings up to $2,500 on select clearance models. Plus, get a free roof and Mahindra's 3-year warranty.
TNT. I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Workouts with GNC Amp Whey-Bolic Protein. It's clinically proven to increase strength. GNC Amp Ripped VitaPack burns more calories, and Performix Iridium SSTI delivers explosive energy for every workout. Save today with buy one get one half off GNC Sports Performance. Hustle to GNC or GNC.com. Sale ends November 22nd. Slay the season only at GNC. Live well.
Monster Energy, welcome to Rockville. Florida's biggest rock experience has returned. April 27th, 28th, and 29th with over 50 bands, including Foo Fighters, Ozzy Osbourne, Avenged Sevenfold, Queens of the Stone Age.
Like the way you used to do.
Welcome to Rockville, the biggest 3-day rock festival to ever hit Florida. April 27th to the 29th with Foo Fighters, Ozzy Osbourne, Avenged Sevenfold, Queens of the Stone Age, Godsmack, Five Finger Death Punch, Breaking Benjamin, Stone Sour, Greta Van Fleet, plus the one and only Billy Idol. Go to WelcomeToRockvilleFestival.com for all ticket, VIP, and festival information. Foo Fighters, Ozzy Osbourne, and so much more. Welcome to Rockville, fueled by Monster Energy Drink. Monster Energy, welcome to Rockville. Florida's biggest rock experience has returned. April 27th, 28th, and 29th with over 50 bands, including Foo Fighters, Ozzy Osbourne, Avenged Sevenfold, Queens of the Stone Age. Welcome to Rockville, the biggest 3-day rock festival to ever hit Florida. April 27th to the 29th with Foo Fighters, Ozzy Osbourne, Avenged Sevenfold, Queens of the Stone Age, Godsmack, Five Finger Death Punch, Breaking Benjamin, Stone Sour, Greta Van Fleet, plus the one and only Billy Idol. Go to WelcomeToRockvilleFestival.com for all ticket, VIP, and festival information. Foo Fighters, Ozzy Osbourne, and so much more. Welcome to Rockville, fueled by Monster Energy Drink.
You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
That's goodness. Hamilton would be happy. Hopefully he's happy tonight as the Noles get a win at home. Would be nice. I'm a little worried. George Washington's already played, transitioning away from what we were in terms of known scorers.
The more they clank, the more we get out in transition and score some fast break buckets.
I just want it so much for him, Tom. I want these numbers to keep growing larger every day. Home win streaks, etc. It's a thing of beauty. What I do know is this is a short segment, and I don't have time to grow nostalgic here and think about all the games a year ago, rather, but this one. And before I head off and turn over similar headlines to you, I should give away a pair of tickets to Rockville. Welcome to Rockville. All right, caller number 3, 523-3776. They're yours. Stone Sour, Five Finger Death Punch, Billy Idol, Bad Wolves, Avenged Sevenfold, Stick to Your Guns, Red Sun Rising, Queens of the Stone Age, Billy Idol, my man Billy Idol. So there you go. I only named a few of them.
You got the Foo Fighters.
Did I not say Foo Fighters?
I don't know.
There's one called Asking Alexandria. They're on there too. So they've got a lot. Caller number 3-523-3776. Make it yours, Jacksonville in April. Long ways off from now. Let's do a What's on Tap while we're at it.
Ready for a cold one?
Yep.
Proof Brewing Company in Railroad Square Art Park presents What's on Tap. So, Jeff, what'll it be?
Tonight, FSU basketball, as I've talked about all hour. I mean, there is no other place to go. That's what you got tonight. It's the Knowles and George Washington. Let's make it happen, baby. Let's tip this thing off. Let's head over to the TLC Double C. Let's get it on.
I believe they serve Proof over at the TLC Double C.
And
Do they not?
I might purchase a glass or two.
I know it's served with our friends at the 7th Hill Tap Room.
It is. And our thanks to Proof Brewing Company for sponsoring What's on Tap. Proof Brewing Company since 2007, offering Tallahassee's finest craft beer selections at their massive tap room in Railroad Square Art Park and canned deliciousness at stores near you. I look forward to it. Anything else you're watching tonight?
No, I mean, I am wholly interested in this basketball team this year because it could go any way, man. They could be a pleasant surprise.
It could be dreadful, too.
They could be dreadful and win 5 or 6 conference games.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be dreadful. That seems like a bit much.
But it could be a dicey non-conference season while they're trying to figure it all out, right? I mean, you got done saying that earlier this hour. So
yeah, but I will tell you this. I did talk to a guy that's closely associated with. Obviously, we talked to Hamilton yesterday, but I did talk to a guy closely associated with the team that gets an opportunity to see practice and give you a little insight. I mean, he's loyal and they keep it in house, so he's not going to give me too much. But he's always been a straight shooter. He's been honest enough to tell me when he thought they were going to struggle. And that's how he usually says it. We may struggle a little bit. Or if he thinks they're going to be good, he'll flat out say, got a chance to surprise. Last year, he told me before the start of the year, this could be interesting. They got some kids. And so he's generally been fair and straight shooting. And he said, I'm unsure. I think they're pretty good. I think by mid-season they'll be good. And I really like this group because they like each other and they work really hard. So, see, they're already endearing themselves to you, right? You're already going to enjoy their work ethic. That's typically the case.
Well, you can see with the rotation potentially, if you just look at that roster, and we know that we're going to be playing anywhere from 8 to 11 guys, right?
Sure.
A ton of minutes. That's what we do. You can see how you can match up against different types of teams. You can play 3 or 4 guards at a time if you want to. You can play a little bit bigger too because you have some combo people at the 3 if you want to. But I just like the idea of having length on the perimeter to defend the perimeter shot, and also it's not length that is without a little bit of bite down low, without a little bit of grit that gets you some boards. I mean, you can get out and play with athletes here, and I think that's the one thing that Leonard was hitting on yesterday that was really exciting to me is that, all right, you've got athletes with skill versus just athletes that you're teaching how to play the game, and we'll see. It's a big year for this program under Leonard, but the idea that you had to work with kids and build a system around them until you get to a point where you've got kids who have skill and are excited to play within your system.
Which he's been able to do.
Okay, all right, I see you. I see you working. Let's just see if it works out.
You have some kids that have some what for to them, too. That's the other thing is tenacious kids in the backcourt that are a lot of fun. Those backcourt kids that got a little spunk to them, a little personality to them, right? A little moxie. I like that. I like that about them. All right, we turn it over to Seminole Headlines. This is, it's meaty. It's not all depressing. It's a lot of fun. We get an hour number 2 in there from Corey because there was a third-quarter touchdown. Oh, it's an all-time effort, too. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. Here comes Seminole Headlines. Stay tuned. Jeff Cameron Show back tomorrow.